EA dropped a new update into FC24, so we're gonna go through change by change and see if the update actually made a positive impact. I won't even do a long intro or ramble, even though I know you guys love it, but I do want to quickly say thank you for 10,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. Sincerely, thank you. The first topic is about more offensive-minded wingbacks. This is to hopefully nerf some of the rats who park the bus with 5 at the back, so it will push the wingbacks further forward and return them more slowly than before the patch. I went into some games and tested out how quickly they went forward and came back using the balanced and stay back while attacking instructions. Now I do want to mention first about how quickly they came back on defense. I lose the ball in an attacking area, obviously on purpose, like I'm just trying to test it out, and my wingbacks are high up on the pitch, and after a quick pass to the striker, my opponent could actually pretty easily exploit the space. If they had any wingers on stay forward, this could easily be a through ball to those players, so yes, the wingbacks do track back more slowly. As for the run making, they do get more forward. A lot more forward. On balance, you can see they do move forward pretty high up the pitch, essentially pushing the backline like a winger. And keep in mind, this is on balance instructions, and this right wingback actually has medium-high work rates, so again, a positive change by EA. I also wanted to see how far forward they got while on stay back while attacking, and while they do push up the pitch pretty high, you can see they aren't pushing the defensive line like they did on balanced. Hopefully this will force defensive players to actually attack more. But you know, it probably won't. Point number 2, reduced midfield congestion. This one might be my favorite of the bunch because now we don't have to do cutbacks every single time just to score. But we know the rats will still try to do it anyway. This image is a perfect example of what the game was before the patch. Everyone bunched up in the middle, forcing players to constantly run down the wing and score cutbacks. One of the lines in the patch notes is having the wings mark less aggressively in order to prevent over congestion in the midfield. You can see that's the case with my opponent's wingers, because they're letting some of my midfielders roam a little bit more freely and opening up some spaces for passes. Because of this space, Laturi was able to make a run forward without me telling him to. This type of attacking AI was seen maybe once in every 10 games or even just in good gameplay, but I saw it twice in this game. Keep in mind, Laturi is on balanced instructions and my offensive tactics are balanced too, and he still made the run, which is something I've been waiting to see for years. While I don't think the attacking AI in the final third is as good as it should be, the less congestion in the midfield will hopefully allow your players to make more runs because they won't fear being marked, and so far, the passing combinations and the space in the middle has made the game at least somewhat fun. But if your opponent is going ultra narrow and cutting off any passing lanes in the middle, you still got the old reliable cutback. Next, we have reduced sideline pressure. This is essentially the nerf, or at the very least the reduction of 71 depth. And it is just beautiful. They mentioned in the notes that there will be more space for attackers to get out of tricky situations with additional passing options. For the most part, that's true. You can see my opponent is using 71 depth. I mean, just look at how high this line is. It's like Tottenham with 9 men. And you can see where the nerf comes from this goal kick, with a lot of reduced pressure on the wings and a little bit of reduced pressure through the middle as well. My opponent pressures me, but there's still some passing options. Finally, there's no more suffocation, no breathing, and I don't really care if I cut my arm bleeding. However, even though the nerf to 71 depth is obviously a very good thing, there are still a few issues. The attacking AI is still very bad during the build-up. You can see Laturi start wandering forward for no reason, and I have to turn around and pass to my center back. You can see Declan Rice, my defensive midfielder, start running to play left wing and take up the same spot as Laturi and my left winger. Like seriously, what the hell is this positioning? Look at the open space. So again, the nerf is a good thing, but it's still a little bit of a problem because of how bad the attacking AI is. I eventually get out of the press by being patient, but if the attacking AI was better, you wouldn't have to be extra patient like this and make multiple small passes. Next, we have decreased goalkeeper movement and positioning speed. Yeah, remember when I said that the reduced midfield congestion was my favorite thing? Yeah, no, I lied. This is my favorite thing. I still think the mechanic is the worst thing ever introduced into gameplay, but making it harder is at least a good start. There isn't really a lot of explanation or in-depth analysis for this one. It's what the clips show. Before the patch, keepers would move more quickly, and once you stopped using goalkeeper movement, they would immediately run back into position. The best thing about this patch is not the reduced moving speed, although that's really good too. Again, we should just nerf this thing into the goddamn ground. But it's the fact the goalkeeper stays in the place you move him to for a short period of time. In the past, you'd see the opponent move their keeper to one side of the goal, trying to predict the shot, and the user shooting the ball would shoot it to the open side of the net where the keeper left the open space. The keeper would then quickly return to their position and be able to save it, even after moving their goalkeeper incorrectly. It was a very standard situation of people not being punished for their incorrect actions. Again, I want to say that this mechanic is absolutely awful and should not be in the game whatsoever. However, it's at least a step in the right direction to defending rather than just guessing where someone will shoot. Now we have the finesse shot playstyle adjustments. Now I've seen a lot of people say that the finesse shot's gotten nerfed, but I think the better language for it has the fact that it's been reduced. I went into a game with a bunch of finesse shot plus cards and I just did my thing. Just finesse shot after finesse shot. Some in good areas with good angles, others from extreme situations. And I still found that finesse shot to still be an extremely viable playstyle, especially against those who have a low block. And in some cases, it was still insanely overpowered. Like seriously, this still went in. What the hell? However, like I said before, this playstyle wasn't really nerfed, but rather reduced. I felt that before the patch, the Finesse Shot Plus would result in a goal about 50 to 60% of the time, maybe even 65% of the time if you knew the angles and how to abuse it. Now I would say that it goes in maybe 30 to 35% of the time. It's not completely useless like some thought it would be. I mean, making a finesse shot 1/3 of the time is still a very good percentage. However, that reduction was absolutely necessary, and now it's not nearly as broken as it once was. You know, at least most of the time. Next up is the controlled sprint speed. Again, the language they used is slightly reduce the top speed of players when using controlled sprint. So similar to the Finesse Shot Plus players, it's not the fact that it's been nerfed, but rather just reduced. I tried out Bernardo Silva and was still bobbing and weaving through everyone. You can tell it's a lot harder to control, and you have to be a little bit more conscientious of where and when to use it. Before the patch, you could essentially abuse it and run past people. In this example, Bernardo Silva would have ran past more quickly and he would have had a better angle to pass for the goal. But instead, he actually gets caught up and it gets intercepted instead. You can still do well with it, but you also have a higher chance of being caught by a defender. Again, a very positive change to this playstyle. And lastly, we have the power header playstyle adjustments, and yeah, not gonna lie, I had no idea this was really an issue, but they are significantly reducing header accuracy. So, you know, that one Twitter guy using Mario Gomez, sorry, dude. Overall, this is a great patch and genuinely one of the best updates that they've ever put in to any FIFA, but you guys know me, I can't leave something on a positive note. While this patch does make the game better, that does not mean the game will suddenly become good. Think about it this way. If you take a test and get a 35%, and then you take a second test and get a 50%, you did better on the second test. However, does that mean that you did well on the second test? No, absolutely not. You got a 50%. You flunked that thing. There are two things holding this game back even with the good patch, and that's bad base mechanics and inconsistent gameplay. There isn't really a patch that's going to fix something like this, where I have 3 bars of power and yet it doesn't go far enough to the player standing right next to me. These are unfortunately bad base mechanics that are going to be more difficult to fix, and again, inconsistent gameplay is still the biggest issue in this game. Take this example where I try to pass with Araujo. I learned how to pronounce it, I think. This little hesitation prevents the pass from being completed. In good gameplay, that would not happen. Or take this example with Sanchez. I go to take a shot and he takes 3 or 4 steps before shooting it, even with the power bar loaded up, and it gets blocked. Again, in good gameplay, this would not happen. Unfortunately, unless you're playing at 3 in the morning consistently, this will be your experience. However, I'm sure that at the least in good gameplay, the game will be more fun and more playable because of this update. Oh my god, I kind of left it on a positive note this time.